Hello and welcome to Celebrating Simple Life. I'm Kimberly and I've been planning parties and incredible events for the past 15 years. I'm passionate about connecting people, making gatherings purposeful, and making the most out of every moment. Join me as we learn together how to find joy, celebrate the simple things in life, use events to grow your business, entertain with purpose, and have a whole lot of fun along the way. Cheers to Celebrating Simple Life. I could not be more excited to let you know that Shine Summit tickets are now available. Shine Summit takes place October 1st, 2020. So you have lots of time to reflect, think about how this event might be exactly what you have been looking for. This is going to be a day that will change your life. If you are an entrepreneur or a leader in your industry, maybe you're dreaming of making changes in your life, you will not want to miss this opportunity. When you take time to invest in you, your business, it affects all the areas in your life. It benefits your family, your community, and all the relationships around you. I am literally so passionate about connecting people in ways that help them grow, and this Shine Summit is the perfect opportunity for that. I have experienced firsthand how investing in myself and in my business by attending an event such as this can absolutely change the trajectory of your life, because it has happened to me. Here's why this is powerful. Life is hard. Business is hard. And some days it honestly doesn't take much to feel like everything is going in a chaotic direction. And what is the point of putting in all of the work and effort that running a business and being a leader within your organization takes? But I'm here to tell you that Shine Summit will not only inspire you and give you all of the feels, you guys, but this Shine Summit is going to give you hands-on, tangible tools that will help directly take your life and your business to the next level. Being surrounded by like-minded individuals and those who have been in their entrepreneurial and business journeys longer than maybe you have is absolutely essential. Hearing from them, hearing their stories, hearing their mistakes, and how they're willing to share their experiences, vulnerability, and really try to help you avoid those same mistakes. We have experts from all over that are going to be coming to share their expertise and to grow together. You will be blown away by our headliner, Sarah Heron. Isn't that the girl from The Bachelor? Why, yes, it sure is. Sarah is a force to be reckoned with, and she has taken her experience of being on a public television show and putting her story out there in the world and taking her disability that she was born with and turning it into something extraordinary. She has an incredible story, an incredible business sense, and she is such an inspiring woman. And you get to hang out with her and be inspired. This summit has been created to surround you with a community of incredible women who will challenge you, help you grow and thrive, and we want to see you there. Imagine the energy, joy, and engaging lessons that you get to be a part of and incorporate those directly into your life and business in ways that are specifically tailored to you. We will be talking about leadership, marketing, social media, overcoming adversity, reinventing your business in new and unique ways. This is not the type of conference where you are just going to hear speeches and leave with a few notes. If you are struggling in finding your niche, to sell more, to organize your finances, or maybe you're even afraid to admit the things that you wish you understood in business, then this is the place for you. This is a summit where you will be challenged to be interactive, to dig deeper in order to achieve the goals that you are dreaming up. Shine Summit is being hosted in the most beautiful event space where everyone attending is there for the same purpose, to shine. These tickets are going to sell out fast, and as a listener of Celebrating Simple Life, the podcast, you are the first to know. Check out shinecollective.ca for all the juicy details. It is hard to believe that we are just a couple of days away from 2020. 2019 has been such an incredible year launching the Celebrating Simple Life podcast, and we are now at episode 19 today, and I just could not be more grateful for the continued support, ratings, reviews, sharing screenshots of podcast episodes that were engaging for you on your Instagram stories, tagging friends on Instagram and Facebook that you think should hear the episode. It just makes me so happy, and I get to do what I love, which is connecting people. And this podcast, and through the events that I host and collaborate with people on, and gatherings and celebrations that I'm a part of, it just all works together to bring more joy to life and connect people in our community and in our world. And I am so grateful to all of you who listen and have joined me in this journey. Today on Celebrating Simple Life, the podcast, I'm hanging out with the lovely Yessenia, blogger of the Block Farmhouse and interior stylist of AT Interiors. We are chatting all about how she got into the world of blogging, how she juggles life as a busy mama, and all about her full service home interior and e-design business, where she uses her creativity and keen eye to create beautiful spaces and bring fresh perspectives into her clients' homes. She is such a beautiful woman on the inside and out, and I am so proud to call her my friend, and you are going to love our conversation. So tune in. Hello, Yessenia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I am so excited to have you here today.
Well,
I've
to be here.
known you for a long time in a few different worlds, hey?
Yeah.
So I am so excited to talk face to face and just hear everything about yourself and your business. And I know that all of the things you're talking about today are really going to resonate with people listening. Because I don't know about you, but I feel like the online world and Instagram and blogging and promoting your own business is getting more and more and more and more. And not that this is a new venture, but I feel like it's so easy to get overwhelmed by what needs to happen when you're trying to be online as well as market your own business and follow along. And I, on a daily basis, feel like I'm taking a deep breath, trying to figure out how to do this all. And so while we're not going to solve the world's problems here today, I hope that everyone listening can really just resonate and follow through, because you have done an exceptional job of putting yourself out there. And I'm so excited to hear your story. So I would love to hear, how did you start into the world of blogging and getting that to where we'll kind of jump into where you are right now. So tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, well, I started my page, The Block Farmhouse, a few years ago now. And I started that kind of sharing my home and the decor feel. I really wanted to base my Instagram on my home decor. And then it just kind of floated on to everything else, like my life and fashion and everything.
It's hard for it to not just kind of overlap, right? You can't just stick with one.
You can show so many parts of your house, and then, it's kind of stops at a place. You're like, I've already shown that, so now.
Totally.
So then I ended up just bringing in, my family and so many other things into my blog. And then after that, I have a group of moms that get together for play dates all the time. And we ended up talking and having the idea to start a mom blog to kind of share our experiences, because we all had our babies close in similar months. And some had boys and some had girls. And we all had gone through so many different things that we're like, why not share? And why not, share tips or anything that we've really experienced with other moms. To see if,
I love that. Well, and that's how the best ideas are born, right? Mm-hmm. You find a group of people, one or more, who have had even some semblance of a similar thing, and you start realizing, okay, I can't be the only person that feels about this way about these things, right? And so it just naturally evolves. So that's really cool too. So on the Block Farmhouse blog, I know that this has evolved into, like you're saying, things about your house and your home and stuff. So how did you, just to back it up, to clarify for people, how did you actually start posting and blogging in a way that connected your blog with your Instagram in a way that you have grown your following to where you have it today, where I don't know if you term yourself as an influencer or not, but you have that feel definitely to what you do, and you have people who are like looking at the things you're posting about your house and outfits that you're wearing and places you're going and things you're doing, from just being a woman to a mama to all of everything in between. And I think that that's a really confusing concept for a lot of people, because every day anybody who's ever looked on Instagram is seeing the term influencer. And I think that that's hard to understand. A, maybe even what the point of it is, and B, how do you use that to grow your business or have it as a stream within your business in order to kind of tie all of those pieces together. So I would love to hear kind of your thoughts on like where you started from the beginning with blogging to how you posted in a way that was really authentically you, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Yes. Okay, well, like I said, I had started more on home decor when I started. And then once I started more with lifestyle and everything, you usually, would say, like, get approached by businesses to kind of market their product and everything. And so for me, always, it's been more of something that if you truly, use it, or you think that it would benefit you in a way, and you have already experienced the actual product or the like event or anything, then it's easier to kind of put into your own feed, I guess you would say.
Just like the authenticity of it.
Yeah.
You're not just going and grabbing a random product
Yeah.
and that you've never tried before and then trying to make it sound like this is your favorite thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like it would even be hard to post about it because you would not really know, what's good about it, what's bad about it, and then it would kind of come across as like a lie or fake, I guess you would say, like non-authentic.
Right.
Whereas of most of the things that I feel like I market for are things that are used in my daily life. Or
So did you start by reaching out to any companies or anything, or did you feel like it happened sort of in the reverse where you were out there already and just the way and authenticity that you were posting? Because I think what I'm gonna get comments and feedback on, I'm hearing it already, is people are gonna be like, but how? How do you go about doing this? That sounds like a magical story of, oh, I just started posting and all of these businesses. I think a lot of people are often in the wait for that and wondering why it's not happening. And I, for myself, feel like you kind of have to put yourself out there, or they think as soon as they've posted a couple of times, it's just going to happen. And I know you've spent a long time posting and building, just putting posts out for the sake of putting posts out. Every single post you put out is not a post promoting somebody's product, right? So when you did, the people that are approaching you, are these local companies or are these companies from anywhere? Instagram is sort of just like indefinite, right?
When I did first start, I feel like I wanted to collaborate more with small businesses because I wanted more of the local followers in Saskatoon. And then I feel like I kind of just, drifted from that idea. I felt like maybe it was more of a pride thing, but I was like, if people want me, then they're going to come find me. And when they find my page, then they're going to message me and everything. So I stopped that like very fast. And then after a whole bunch of businesses would email me and everything, and I easily decline when I don't feel like the connection or any kind of way that kind of connects with my feed or like home decor or just in my life at all. But I feel like your number one thing usually is creating the content. So really taking the time and the effort to create the content that you think that people would like, like not just the pretty picture, but really kind of like the caption, like try to connect with your followers instead of just putting a pretty picture and making your caption like, this picture is awesome or something,
Right.
like this is awesome.
Yeah.
Or, like you want to make something meaningful. And what people really want to see is the realness of, I feel like that's just what connects you to your followers, is like the realness and rawness of life. And so I feel like your caption should be really drawing, and you should have pretty photos. It's not that you shouldn't, but You should have that, but that's the number one thing that people catch first, right? Because that's what you see on Instagram is picture after picture after picture.
Right.
If something catches your eye, then you want to read the caption. And then when you grasp with the caption, then they're going to want to look in your profile. And that's kind of where it leads.
Right.
And I felt like for me, personally, I started something that I didn't feel was here in Saskatoon because ever since I was little, I have a unique name. My name is Yessenia.
Yeah.
You know, like I was just always, I felt different, you know, like I never wanted to follow the trends in high school. I always wanted to be like totally off of the trends. So I feel like that now is still a thing for me. I just want to bring something different than other people. So I saw that people wouldn't like, they would kind of share like home decor on their feeds and stuff, and then I was like, oh, what can I do differently from the people in Saskatoon? So I ended up bringing in, especially because my audience is moms, I brought in the idea of doing try-ons, and I thought, like, I pretty sure nobody else was doing it, so I ended up going to Old Navy, picking a whole bunch of clothes and putting them on and taking pictures, and then a whole bunch of moms after once I posted it was like, I'm going to Old Navy now, like I'm ordering now, like I live outside of the city and I can't come in, so I appreciate this so much. And you know, like especially with moms, they're so busy, they don't want to take their kids for like a couple hours to Old Navy and try on a bunch of clothes. So like everybody came back at me with all this feedback, and I was like, wow, like people want to see this. Yeah. So that was one of the things that I brought in that I felt it was really unique. And then I started doing it with small businesses, and a lot of small businesses would seek me out because, I mean, especially it's different when you see it on a website or you see it laying on, like, folded up.
Like, how does this fit a real human being?
Exactly, yes. Mm-hmm. And so that was one of the things that I really felt like had brought in a lot of my local followers, because they were like, oh my gosh, this girl's from Saskatoon, or this girl, like people from Regina, this girl's from Saskatoon and she's doing this.
Yes.
And I had seen it in Regina, and I had seen it in Edmonton, and I had seen it in a lot of other places, but never here. So I was like, I need to bring something new, right? Like, just the whole uniqueness of things. And then I also, I guess I want to answer the question of like how, you know, like not every post in my feed is in a promotion, but I feel the balance in that should be found before you start a blog. I feel like you should really, you know, find a percentage that you're wanting to promote and what you're not wanting. So like usually I've done a lot of research, and a lot of people say like 80 and 20. So like 80% your posts and 20% promoting stuff. And I usually don't really like look at how many.
Just kind of naturally.
Yeah. You know, like I just promoted something, like I don't want to, you know, promote, you know, that usually, and I feel like that really pushes some people away that see it as inauthentic, but you also need to understand that, you know, that some of those products are actually being used from me, and I really truly do genuinely like it. But just kind of when you oversaturate your whole feed with promotions, you know, people want to be pushed away because they're like, these people are kind of just doing that, you know?
Totally. Well, and it's almost like a sales 101 thing, right? Like in any business where you're selling a physical product or a service. I am a service-based business, so I do the same thing in a service sense where, yeah, it can't just every single day be buy this, do this, sign up for this, do this. Like it's exhausting, first of all, to put that out. And yeah, I know when I'm scrolling through and looking through things, if that's all that I'm ever seeing, not that I would or wouldn't like somebody's content because of that, but it may lead me to unfollow just because I'm like, oh man, I'm kind of feeling a little inundated with everything that's coming at me.
And I feel like even with like business people, like insurances or Mary Kay or anything like that, they really try to create that friendship, even though they're trying to like create a business and have you purchase things. They still try to make that friendship instead of just putting in your face like, buy this and you buy this package and that's it, or like oils or anything. Like it's you know, like, let's go out for coffee, like how was your day, what did you do, you know, like bringing in that friendship in your feed, whereas of just kind of, you know, like you need to buy this to become this and have this, and like money, 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 and you're just like, I don't want to buy from you because you're just shoving it in my face instead of, you know, like, how was your day? Like, more natural.
That's right. And almost looking as Instagram, I heard this analogy, I can't even remember where I heard this from, but it really resonated with me, is thinking of your Instagram as your home.
Yes.
Like, it's your home. So if you want to get people in the door, when you invite a friend over, or you invite a acquaintance or somebody you don't know over into your home, or meeting them up somewhere, the first thing you're going to do is not shove something into their face. Like, you're welcoming, right?
Yes.
They come in, you offer them a drink, you take their coat, they sit down, it's cozy. Like, that to me has sort of been the thing that I reflect back on a lot, where like it should feel like somebody's being welcomed in, and that you're getting to know each other or your friends, and it's not just sales pitch, because no one likes walking into those retail stores where you just feel this like sense of people like watching you, and you aren't sure like where to go, which is kind of how I think Instagram can kind of feel too sometimes, as a store, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
So now as you've moved along in the blogging world, and you've created your following, and you're blogging, and you're posting on Instagram, and you're working on collaborations and ways and things to connect with your following and new people that you maybe want to have as a part of your following, you've now brought in an actual set of services into your business. So not just helping promote products. So tell us about this new venture that you've recently started with AT Interiors. How exciting.
It's pretty exciting. I still get a little nervous when people talk about it, because I felt like it was such a fear of mine when I first started the blog Farmhouse. I kind of shared a little bit about my home, and I always thought about doing interior styling or home staging, and I had the fear of failing, of, you know, like, it's just Saskatoon, it's so small, you know, like, people aren't going to want that, and I'm still in shock that I'm doing this now, and I'm loving it, and I'm really busy with it, but I felt like it was still, like, it's still kind of a fear, even though I'm receiving clients. It's like, I'm in shock, like, wow, I can really do this.
You know what? I think that is so relatable, though. I've had many conversations with women specifically, and what you're describing is this imposter syndrome, right? Like, it's a term that's being used more and more, but I think a lot of people don't actually realize that this is like a legit real thing, and it's not just about feeling scared. Yeah. It's about almost not feeling worthy of that people would actually want your product or services, or that somebody else maybe is doing it better, and how do I think I can fit into this world and environment? I think it would be hard pressed to find, I think, a person, especially women, because I just feel like there's just always this sense of you're not wanting to put yourself out there so much, where other women are like, oh, she just wants everybody to like look at, like, you know, there's just this. There, and that's not even necessarily a conversation that's like happening to you, but it's like an inner conversation that you're telling yourself and believing things that aren't even the truth. And I think that sort of comes back to just the importance of like surrounding yourself with people who are going to build you up and be truth tellers, right? Like, if there is something that they're like, you know what, I bet you could do something like this, and that would, like, I don't know. I love hearing stuff like that from people that I trust, from people that are my people. I don't need random people commenting and giving me advice that's just out of left field. You can kind of take that with a grain of salt, right? But yeah, I love that you address that, because I am really wanting to blow this out of the water of this stigma that everything has to be perfect and great. People say that to me all of the time, and my industry is literally about creating the illusion of perfection. That is what it is. So it's super hard to feel like you're posting authentically about things when like the projects that I'm working on are really beautiful and pretty, but the back end of it all is not.
And I know that.
Right? Yes. And you know that. We worked together in the event industry years ago, and you know that firsthand. And I don't think that that's unique to my industry. I think that is to every industry, that's just the way that it is. And I think if people are having more of these honest conversations like this, that they would be able to maybe help talk themselves out of this imposter syndrome
Yeah.
when it creeps up. So holiday season can feel so full, even with so many amazing things on the go. It just sometimes feels like too much. As a working mom, I often struggle to find the time and balance to cook healthy, home-cooked meals that will fuel my family and myself and not leave me feeling overwhelmed. It takes a lot of time to plan, shop, prep, and cook healthy dinners. I'll admit, I was skeptical when I signed up for the Good Food Box. I had tried out a promo code that I had seen online, and I told myself I would just try one box to check it out. Well, 6 weeks later, I am hooked. From the first step of clicking to order and then receiving the fresh ingredients and step-by-step recipes, it has all been seamless and easy. My mind has been cleared from the daily struggle of what's for dinner and knowing that my meals will arrive on my doorstep each week unless I choose to skip a delivery, which, by the way, I can do as often as I want. We will be away for a little bit over Christmas, and I've already been able to skip the weeks that I need to, and I've skipped a few until the new year so that I'm ready to go. You can even cancel your subscription at any time. There's really no risk. There are so many recipe suggestions, or you can make it even easier, and I just let the team at Good Food decide what meals are going to come to me each week. They're curated, delicious, restaurant quality meals. And the best part is that my daughter, Cassidy, who's 11, has been able to make a lot of the meals by herself. I have come home after a day at work and she has been able to follow the amazing, colorful, easy to follow recipe cards and instructions. I cannot say enough good things about the Good Food Box. And as a special offer for Celebrating Simple Life, the podcast listeners, you can get $40 off your first box. Click the link in the show notes to receive your discount code and make the most of your time this holiday season. $40 off your first Good Food Box with the link in the show notes. Cheers to celebrating today. You're doing beautiful work, and I love what you're doing with the styling. So can you, for those who haven't heard of AT Interiors yet, and who maybe don't understand the concept of what you might all do, can you just talk a little bit about what exactly the steps and processes are, and ways that you can actually help potential clients and how they might be able to work with you?
Yeah, definitely. So I usually, I try to advertise that your home doesn't need to be, like a gazillion dollars. It doesn't need to have all of the new furniture and all of the new everything. I like the term, like reuse, recycle, I'm a person, if you've seen on my blog Farmhouse, I have DIYs that you could always do. I've painted and redone furniture, and I feel like things can be budget friendly. When you're wanting to turn around a room, it's easy to freshen a space with just a few items and not just sell everything and then rebuy a whole bunch of new stuff, And so usually what I do with my clients is if anybody's interested, I send a questionnaire out and just kind of basic questions of what your style is and what you're looking for, if you just want to freshen up a room or if you want to totally revamp your place, just to see if I kind of connect with them and I can help them with that service. If it's a little bit out of my reach, then I'll probably, lead them to somewhere else where that they can totally be helped. But usually after that questionnaire, then I like to have in-home consultations. Usually I have done a e-design before, which is virtual designing for a client in Newfoundland. And usually that's the only way, is usually like a FaceTime or a phone call or something. It's a little bit tough, but usually when I come into the home, it's a little bit easier. I get to take measurements and see the space and kind of envision it. And then when they chit chat with me about what they want, I then go home and kind of make up a proposal and see, what items they're needing, or if they need artwork, then what can we use? If they're renting, then we can't, put holes in the walls or something. So then I make the proposal and then I send it to them. And if they like what they see, then they'll usually reply back and then we start working from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do you, when you're in there, then do you kind of, if somebody just wants like one room refreshed, do you kind of do a little bit of an inventory throughout the whole house to kind of see like what you might be able to shop within the house?
Yes.
And move it around from space to space? Because it's interesting. I find I love home design, and I really believe that the space that you live in, totally agree with what you're saying, does not need to be, it can be for any budget. It doesn't matter if you are a student. It doesn't matter if you are renting for whatever reason and whatever length of time, or if you own a very starter home to multi-million-dollar home. It really doesn't matter. It's like how you feel. I remember house shopping. My husband and I have owned quite a number of different houses over the years and just kind of done a few flips and different things in them. But I remember house shopping, and it didn't matter whether we were in a basic house or one that was maybe more at the top end of our price range.
Yeah.
The feeling that I had in there is all that I was gauging. Like it didn't really matter. It could be the most basic, but knowing that you could sort of visualize what you might be able to do to make it feel like you and your home. And that's sort of what I'm hearing you say, right? Like it's about creating the space that works for you. Yeah. There's not a right or a wrong, there's not a template. There's not a right or a wrong way to do that, but...
And I feel like a lot of people have that problem, and it's, I mean, my husband is the same, or anybody is, you know, like they can't just go in a room and be like, this would be a nice room. You know, they just see the dark walls and they see the dark brown carpet, and they're like, I don't see anything. Where as if I come in and I'm like, I see this and I see this and I see this, you know, like, and that's what I feel like people have been reaching out about. They're like, I just don't, like, you know, like, I don't know what my style is, or I don't know what I see in this room, or what the layout could be. And I feel like that's kind of why they reach out, is just for that help, where like, you know, like the little push and the nudge kind of thing.
Well, it's kind of like almost like, not only is that a gift of yours, but you get to be this fresh set of eyes who isn't living in the space all the time, right? I feel like it's so easy to, it's sometimes not until you're like inviting somebody over or doing something where you're like looking around and being like, oh man, I should really like either tidy this up or move this, because it just sometimes feels so normal because you're just living day to day and just trying to survive the day, kids and life and everything in between. So I think, I love that fresh set of eyes, because you're walking into a space and you have no limits about how you've seen it. You just get to be creative. Yeah. Right?
Exactly.
Cool. I love that. So who do you find that it's more so like, is it individuals, or do you work commercially at all with like people that were like businesses would come in to do that, or what would you find is like the way that what's your favorite way to kind of connect with people right now?
I feel like just since I started, I've only just been doing this since the summer, but since I've started, I've just been more just like personal, you know, like I guess I'm just like a small business right now. I mean, if I do grow enough, I would love to work with like commercially, like with bigger contractors or any kind of builders at all. But right now I'm just kind of sticking with more personal.
It's such a great fit. I feel like it is a very niche service, because I think a lot of times if people want something done in their home, they sort of feel like, oh man, we kind of just got to like gut this and start from the beginning, right? Rather than there could really be some like easy ways and affordable ways to just make you be able to take a breath in your home, totally, right?
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So what would you say in the project and in the clients you've been working with so far, what are some of like your most favorite parts of what you get to do when you walk in? It's funny that you say that, because I feel like I am not in the home design, but in the event design industry where I do the same thing, or I'll walk into a coffee shop, or I'll walk into somewhere and I don't even mean to do it, but I'm like standing in there being like, oh man, like if they like cleaned up their menu boards a little bit, this would like be really clean and easier to read. And I do not suggest these things, because I am not that person. However, it like goes through my mind where I'm like, okay, Kim, relax, just sit in here and enjoy your coffee. You don't need to change the whole demeanor of the business while you're in here.
Yes, I'm the same way all the time, especially because before I started my blog Farmhouse, I me and Jeff moved into a fixer-upper. And so it was literally a gutted house, and
So you were like Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Oh yeah, it was all that. We went in there thinking, oh, it's just cosmetics, and then we kind of went deeper, and we had to rip the walls out, rip the insulation and everything, and so it was just Jeff and I and some of my family that literally redid the whole house. He's a woodworker, so he like did the cabinets and everything and the floors. And so even just walking into a house that's a little bit outdated, I'm always like in my head like, if you just painted those oak cabinets, like,
totally.
you know, like it would change so much. Or like you said, like walking in and everywhere. If I walk into like a restaurant and the style is just like amazing, I will stare at a light fixture like the whole time I'm eating, and Jeff is like, look down.
Yeah.
Focus on your food.
We're on a date night.
I'm like, but that light fixture, where did they get it?
But you know what? That's testament to, I think even if somebody doesn't necessarily feel that that's something of their skill set, or they think that they don't necessarily appreciate their surroundings, I would beg to differ that if somebody is sitting in a room that doesn't, like, it's dark, there's no light, they're feeling like they just aren't comfortable, the furniture doesn't feel good, they're have nothing to look at, and it's just, that changes your mood.
Yes,
it totally changes your mood. And I don't think that a lot of people realize how much, like, we spend a lot of time in our home. Like, your home is your home, and that's where you're like making memories. And if there's always this like, like not feeling fresh about it, I really feel that can change your like mental psyche about how you feel about even just coming home.
Totally. Because you can totally be comfortable in your home, but also be bored of it, right? Because you know, like that shelf has been sitting there the past 3 years, you know, and you come in and you don't notice the shelf, but like you just live your life and you're just kind of like comfortable, because that's what you want your home to be, is comfortable, but you don't want it to be boring, right? So like even just freshening up like every, I don't know, few months, if you could, like switch some furniture around, put some new pieces of decor, like just those things I feel like people don't really notice, because like you said, like especially for moms or anybody that's really busy, like in the working field, you know, you just come in, you just go make supper, you just, you know, like it's a daily thing where you go and do your routine and you don't really notice, you know, and just adding that pop of color in your house will totally change your mood.
Totally.
And, you know, like it'll bring something and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that painting looks really good. And just that little bit will bring like the happiness in our routine day.
It sparks joy,
totally,
right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think that there's, besides even just from the aesthetic standpoint, I feel like there's often little tiny things that maybe shouldn't matter, but that just annoy you in the house, totally, right? Yeah. Like, for instance, where are my keys? I don't know where, like things like that, where you're like, you know what? A little cute dish right here might be just what I need to tell my brain that this is where the keys go.
Yes.
And things like that, where there's, I think about like my kids' our snack cupboard. You know, like random things that aren't necessarily from an aesthetic standpoint. Yeah. But if there are places in your life, in your home, that you are regularly using, the snack cupboard might be the most trafficked place in our house, having kids. And if I go in there and I am like, oh, these are all thrown everywhere, everything's around, the kids are like purposefully not even seeing different things in there because it's messy, as soon as they like line it up and like make it feel like it's accessible and you can see what's in there, all of a sudden they're like, oh wow, we've got so many things to choose from, when it's the exact same things that were in there yesterday, but now it's organized.
Yes, totally,
you know?
Yeah. And I feel like a lot, well, more on like Instagram side of things, I feel like people see a picture on Pinterest even, and they're like, ooh, I want that exact, you know, that exact table, that exact plant, that exact,
Buy
you know.
all.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, you got to realize that was staged for that photo, right? Whereas in a home with children, in a home with, you know, like your daily life, you want to bring in the functional part.
That's
you know,
right.
like you want to make this functional, but you can also make things functional without looking, you know, like horrible. What was it the other day? Jeff was like, oh, we could put like a hook for Ariela's jacket. And I was like, I mean, we could put a hook because it would be functional for her, but like, how can we make it look nice where our hooks are way up on the top in the mudroom, and hers is just going to be on a random wall.
Right.
You know, like, I got to now think of how we can make it functional for her to come home from school, hang up her jacket, put her boots in a specific spot.
100%. And that's exactly what it is. Like, we can't keep getting frustrated that our kids don't do what they're supposed to do if there isn't things lined up for them to do it, right?
Totally,
and I think that that's all ages and stages of it. I just did that with my 11-year-old daughter Cassidy this week, where she was finding that the little hangers that she used to use on her little clothes were not working for her big girl clothes now. So we switched out to like nice wooden hangers that match what I have in my closet, and her clothes magically are not falling all over the floor now because they actually stay on the hanger, you know.
Totally.
Like, sounds so silly, but like little things like that. And now she's like opened her closet, she's like, wow, this is so great. Like, she's actually hanging her stuff up. We'll see how long that lasts, but you know, like things like that, where if there's little tiny, I love that you're saying that, because I feel like part of what I would imagine you're doing with people is that you're able to sort of help them pinpoint some of these pain points, which sounds ridiculous to call it a pain point, but all of those little tiny pain points add up to frustration, at least in my world, and I don't think I'm alone on that.
Totally, yeah. I feel the same, and especially, well, I've worked with a few moms now, just like doing a room or a living room or anything, or a master bedroom, and I feel like, even though in my mind I see a vase on a side table, I need to think they're a mom, you know? Their kids are going to come into their room.
Right.
Where's that vase going to go?
That's right.
You know, like, the little boy is 3 years old, 4 years old. He's going to reach for that vase, and that vase is going to fall. And, you know, like, that's... So, replace it with something that can be touched, you know, like a stack of books. You know, like, he could probably grab them and rip the pages out, but I mean, the stack of books is less breakable than the vase.
Less dangerous. Totally.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, and I think the function of it all too, and just being able to go through your house, and there's going to be listeners who are like, this sounds so daunting. Now I'm supposed to go through my whole entire house. It's not even really like that. It's really just like, in a day, think about one thing that you're like, okay, you know what? I can hang that coat hook for my daughter so that she can hang up her jacket today. Won't take you very long. Do it and you'll feel so happy. And that sort of almost promotes like, oh wow, okay, this is working so great. What else can I do to like make my house feel like me and feel like
and it doesn't need to be something huge, like you said, like where you put your keys. You know, like me and Jeff always need a drop area. So doesn't matter where it is, it needs to be a drop area where we can drop our keys, drop our phone, drop whatever we're putting in there. If we have like receipts on the way, then we need to put it in there somewhere where it's like hidden but not...
Well, and I think everyone shows these like beautiful mud rooms on Instagram and these like beautiful drop areas. I'm like, okay, again, like you just said, looks wonderful and perfect. And for those 30 seconds after you have laid it out perfectly, and you can look at it and be like, oh, wow, this is great. That is not regular life when you are coming and going and your kids are trashing their mittens and boots and like snow gear and everything else all over. It doesn't stay that way. But you're right. If everything has like a place where it can go, it's okay that those receipts are sitting there, but they're not laying all over the floor. You know?
Totally, And I feel like, especially on Instagram, a lot of people look at Instagram and see the staged and see the perfect pictures, you know, and I feel like our number one instinct as women usually is like judge, you know, like, that's so perfect. How does she keep it so clean? You know, like she set it up for the picture. Most of the time, that's
the rest of her house is an absolute storm.
Exactly.
But those are not the things that are being photographed today. Just this one little area. And the picture is just a tiny square.
Exactly. And I feel like even just talking about how to grow your Instagram would be just adding that. Like adding, you might post that beautiful picture, but in the stories, you know, add that mess in the back. Because I feel like people really connect with that. They're like, oh, like she totally set up that picture. And in the back are her kids screaming and with toilet paper all over, you know, like
100%. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I posted, this was like quite a few months ago, I think already. I posted, I was like reading a book, actually taking a minute to read a book and took a picture of the book because I wanted to post it on Instagram. And as I'm posting it, realizing there is literally like 2 weeks worth of heaped laundry all over my bed while I'm laying in there by myself. I'm like, you know what? This is the honest truth. And you want to know the other honest truth? This has been sitting on here for like a week and I've been sleeping with it on my bed because I cannot survive the storm. Just kick it off. Most of it's on the floor and then I pick it up again and put it back on the bed in the morning. Totally. Like who else has that struggle? Like come on, people. So I think you're totally right. I think that to me is the way that things need to be blown out of the water to show how to grow your following authentically. And posting pretty, like, be negative about pretty pictures if you want, but pretty pictures are nice to look at. Exactly, they make me happy to look at pretty pictures. And I think if you can consciously tell yourself, this is a really pretty picture, it'd be really nice to like have some semblance of this, but this is not, they're not posting this to be like, hey, I'm perfect, you know?
Some people, like if you saw an Instagram page on people's mess every day, like these are my dishes from the night before, like would you want to follow them? I highly doubt it because all those pictures are disgusting. So
and you can probably just go down to your own kitchen and look at it for the real life.
Exactly,
Well, that's exactly right. Like you're totally right. It gives you the good feels to look at these pictures, but then taking those good feels and allowing that to propel you forward rather than to propel it to a state of negativity of, oh, well, I'm never going to get there. This is like...
I feel like, I've had a chat with a few ladies about this, and I feel like that's a thing where there are people that, just aren't, how would I say, like mentally at that point where they can be on social media and not...
allow that to turn to negativity.
Totally. I feel like, if you're at that point where you keep looking at these pictures and you're like, why isn't my life like that? Like, why don't I look like that? Or, like maybe unfollow, I'm like unfollow those people or don't follow, like those people that make you feel less, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then once you're at that mental state where you feel like you can look at the picture and be like, like, she's a mom, she probably set up the picture, she waited for the perfect lighting, and you realize that and you're like, that's a really pretty picture. Then I feel like you should, it would make you happy to see that, right?
Yes.
Like, and then you can totally look at everybody else's pictures of how they stage it and everything. And usually for me, I feel like I understand that, and I try to remember, like, there are people that, like, wouldn't want to like those pictures and stuff, but I personally am more of a, how could you say, like laid back. So like if somebody unfollowed me because they're like, oh, your pictures are fake or your pictures looks like this, I'm just like, like obviously it's not for you, like
totally.
It has nothing on me. I really don't. Yeah. I feel like I don't need to sit and explain to people why my photos are perfect or, like why I do what I do. If you really do have questions and you genuinely want to know why I do what I do, then I will freely tell you exactly what I do and what happens and how it works. But if people are just kind of like negative on the sense, I feel like...
Well, and you know that your heart and your mission is in the right place of doing what you're doing that feels authentic to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're only really hurting yourself if you're posting things that aren't authentic. So that's really up to you to get to be the judge of that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's always, I share this quote all of the time, but it's nobody's business it's not your business what somebody else thinks of you,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
And that's like another part of that imposter syndrome where you just have to remind yourself that it's okay if someone unfollows you, unfriends you. It doesn't, there's a million times that I do that, and it's not because I have any ill will towards the situation. Exactly. It's just protecting myself, my own mental state, where I maybe feel like, you know what, I'm having a particularly challenging week. Seeing some of these things coming across my screen for some reason, undescribable, just makes me feel not good this week. I'm just not feeling on my A game. And so I need to just either not go on social media for a little bit or remove it, to self-preserve. And I think
there's such a thing as social media break. A lot of people are starting to take them, and I feel like sometimes it's necessary, like even for myself, if I felt like I was too kind of drowned in the state of my work or anything, like I would take that break. I feel like social media is as much as you probably don't like notice, it's a tiring thing. It's, it does bring a lot of emotions, there's all kinds of sort of things that are being shared all the time. There's a lot of things like going on behind it. Like you have your life, so you can't post all of a sudden. And like I said, like with my business and then with the blog and with my mom blog, it sometimes all becomes way too much. And I feel like I prioritize my business first, always. And so when I feel like I'm behind on my work, then I have to put off the blog Farmhouse. And I put that off on a break where I'm like, I'm not going to be doing this very much and blah, blah, blah. So when I started, I actually put on the blog Farmhouse, I'm starting this business. And, you might not see much of me on my stories because probably every day I was showing my face.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're just going to see this cutoff of nothing from me, So I just told them, like now I'm going to start this. And, I'm going to take a good break of everything. And I feel like even just that felt really good because I felt like I could really focus on the one thing, which was work and working with my clients and having the time. And I was really struggling. I mean, I feel like I still am struggling a little bit.
It's always a work in progress, right?
With the whole balance. And, I really reach out to small business owners that have like the mom life and the small business aside. And I really reach out to them for their advice, kind of like how you balance it all. Because I feel like there are moments that my business is running slow. So then I go on to the blog Farmhouse and then I feel like everything comes at once and I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like I also need to be a mother to my children, which are always, like number one priority. I gotta go to them. And then usually, so at the beginning, actually, this is a funny story. At the beginning, I was always working late nights when they would go to sleep and then early mornings. And I probably did that for like a solid, probably 3 weeks. And then Jeff had his days off after those 3 weeks. And he was like, okay, I'm going to take the kids all day and you can do whatever you want. And I had literally slept from when he left all the way to like, I think 7 p.m., like all day. And he's like, what did you do? And I was like, I slept. I caught up on all my hours of not sleeping and I slept. And I felt like what I was probably doing wasn't like the most healthiest thing. And now I'm like, okay, I need to like find the balance of nap time comes. If they both go down, I can quickly do one thing, and so many small businesses have been just like giving me all this advice and I've just been taking it like this, like I'm finally finding, the littlest bit of balance where I can share and, connect with my followers on the blog Farmhouse because I miss them when I'm doing my business. And then I go to my business and then I'm like working with my clients. And then, like the day ends and I put my phone away and then it's family time and kid time and supper time.
Yes,
And, like.
Totally. Well, and I appreciate you sharing that because I don't know if that ever goes away. Yeah. Like that really is. And I think it's the thinking that it's going to go away, that entrepreneurs and people that are owning their own businesses trying to juggle it all keep striving towards this idea that all of a sudden magically either kids getting older or whatever the case may be, that it's just going to be easier. And yes, it does get easier to a sense when my children go to school all day every day. Exactly. So I've had years of, like that's just the way that it is. I'm not in that same younger stage of having kids, but I did do this at that time as well. So I remember very clearly trying to work exactly what you're saying to me is like a chapter out of my book as well. I hear you. But yeah, like I think that that's the cool part about creating this community. And because there are a lot of people who, I mean, you don't have to run your own business in order to understand, but in having this community of people who are in a similar stage, just like how you were describing your mom friends when you were in the similar stage, kind of came up with this idea for the blog. It's the exact same idea within the community of female entrepreneurs or small businesses or however the case may be, because you are all trying to do this, and every single person has woken up in the morning, had to get themselves ready, maybe or maybe not, had to get their kids ready, whatever the case may be. But there's a lot of human elements that everybody does in a day. Celebrities, local people, like everybody in the world has certain human elements that are all there. And it's really a matter of learning what works best for you and in your life and in your schedule, and nobody else can really tell you what's going to work best for you, but all those little snippets are a great way to be able to build your own.
And I feel like it just even you saying that, it just brings like comfort, you know, to people, like, I know what you mean, or, you know, I'm going through the same thing, because I feel like even with my mom friends, we still have like a Facebook chat. And when our kids were younger, like little babies, our first ones, we all kind of chit-chatted, and all of a sudden, like, okay, good night, guys. 3 a.m. comes along. Ding.
Right.
Are you awake? Absolutely. My child woke up 3 times already. What about you? You know, like, just having that, like, community of moms that was just like, you're awake too. You know, it's not just my child. I'm not alone. We're like, when I talk to the small business owners, and they're like, you know, like, I still struggle with the family and the business, like, side, you know, like, and you're not bad for it. Just them saying it, it's just like, oh my gosh, thank goodness.
Yes.
Thank goodness I'm not alone. Like, I know that I'm just starting off, but just that comfort of, like, she's been in the business for how long and she's still struggling. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it just makes you, it makes you feel not alone, and it makes you feel like there's not something wrong with you. And that to me is the most human of connections and the most beautiful. I mean, my whole career is based around trying to create connections with humans in their personal lives and in their businesses. Yeah. And that to me is as human as it gets. And if you can't share with anybody what your inner struggles are, that's where I think things take a slippery slope, where you just feel like you are alone, and it's very easy to get into that mentality of nobody could possibly understand me, nobody's ever done this before, and that just snowballs into a very unhealthy situation very quickly, I think. Yeah. So I love this. Oh, I feel like we could talk about this. This will be a whole nother podcast episode of talking about part 2 through 2000 of how to balance life. So to wrap this up, I always ask the same questions. Because I love hearing, we haven't gotten to hear the inner scoop of like how things actually go in your day-to-day. Yes. And so I would love to know, when you wake up in the morning, and you have 2 young children, so obviously it's maybe not necessarily onto your own schedule even yet when you get to wake up. Yeah. But what is one thing that you do in the morning that sets your tone for the day? Like, how do you kind of start it off in order to just get into the right mindset, even if maybe you have been woken up in the night or didn't choose your morning wake up call?
Usually, I guess it would be praying. We usually pray in the morning. We pray at night too, but yeah, we usually pray in the morning at the beginning of the day. Like as a family, or? Well, Jeff's sometimes working, so yeah, it's usually just me and the kids.
That's
and
beautiful.
Diego obviously doesn't understand.
Yes, he's little, but it's still getting embedded into.
But my daughter, she understands and she tries. So.
Well, and it's kind of just that quiet time, right? Just to start the day in a nice way, not in a.
And just even teaching her about it, I feel like it's like nice to hear her cute little. Little mommy, thank you for daddy. Just
innocence of it all. Totally. Exactly. So, are you a coffee drinker? What do you drink coffee or tea, or like what's your get going?
I drink coffee and tea.
Okay.
But I guess I don't really have a preference of like Starbucks or Tim Hortons, but Starbucks I usually like their ice drinks, like any kind of like passion tea or anything.
Ice drinks in the wintertime?
No.
Okay, I'm like
definitely not.
Okay.
But I mean, maybe if I was really craving it, but no, my fingers would be freezing. But Tim Hortons, I always get the same order, and it's usually a steep tea.
Good one. Their steep teas are good.
So good.
I'm much more of a coffee drinker than a tea drinker, but their steep teas are really
so good. Yeah. I can literally have that every day in the morning. Like, sometimes Jeff has to go a little bit later to work, and he's just like, do you want me to quickly go by? And I'm like, you know what I order? Yes. Steep tea.
The answer is always yes. Yeah. So when you're out and about, maybe you're still in like diaper bag stage versus carrying a purse, but maybe if you do get to venture out alone without your children, what would be one unique thing that's like always in your purse that's like, you have to have this in your purse, or you like notice it's missing?
Oh my.
I had one answer.
Diapers?
That's creative. Those can be used in multitudes of ways.
Like, I have diapers in my purse all the time. Everywhere there's diapers. I don't know if it's not diaper bag. Oh geez. That's like all I've carried for like my
Maybe the answer is you're excited to get back to not
Yes.
using a diaper bag.
Yes, totally. Totally. I always have my like paper planner. I always like move it from my diaper bag to my purse if I take my purse.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
That takes habit to always do that.
Yeah.
Good for you. I like that answer.
It's a little bit of dedication. I feel like if I don't have it, then I'm like, if somebody like throws something at me, like, do you want to do this a day? And I'm just like,
then you feel like you're missing
where?
it. So do you use just a paper planner, or do you also use a digital calendar? Like your Google Calendar on your phone?
I don't use my Google Calendar.
You're inspiring me right now. I've like literally talked about this for years of how I wish I could reverse back to using a paper planner, because that was always my thing before. I haven't been able to do it. I love my digital calendar so much. I don't know how to go back.
I have tried, and I'm the opposite. I have tried so many times to use my Google Calendar, and I just can't. I don't know why.
Maybe we need to like teach each other. You can teach me the paper planner, and I'll teach you the digital calendar.
I have like little random dates everywhere in my Google Calendar, like me trying to attempt to put in there, but then I like end up writing it in my planner after. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna.
Surprises you when something actually shows up in your calendar.
Totally. All the time, because I always open it up right when I get home, so it's just sitting there and I like see my dates, because I always my husband works shift work, so like I'm constantly planning my life all the time, because if he works, you know, if he's working nights, and I'm like, hey, gotta plan something so I can get out of the house with the kids, or else I'm gonna be like shh all day, right? So I'm like,
so how do you coordinate your two of your schedules together when you're on paper?
It's
is that, do you
I
feel
have
like,
three. Okay, so I have one calendar that's in the kitchen, and then I have a weekly calendar on my island, and then I have my paper planner in my purse and diaper bag.
This is intense. This sounds like a whole other episode.
I have one day a week where I usually just sit down and I have Jeff's schedule and mine and my work and everything, and then I just kind of write everything on each.
And does he participate in this activity, or does he just go where you're like, you need to be here?
Yeah, he usually just goes along.
Smart man.
Yeah.
So in all the busyness of life that we're talking about, what would be something that you do for yourself, big or small, or to teeny tiny for self-care? How do you stay feeling like you when you're getting pulled in so many directions, like so many of us are? What is something, or is that something that you feel like you need to find a better balance of?
I mean,
your steep teas are a good start.
Yeah,
I
would say that's my treat. I mean, I do get my nails and my lashes done. I feel like those are like, I have to. You're get like them
lifeblood.
Done. Yeah,
good for you. It just makes you feel more.
And
like
even
you.
though I'll go like after like a whole month, and my nail lady probably hates me, and she's probably gonna listen to this and be like, "Yep," because like I will literally wait off a whole month, because I'm like, I should be the person to pre-book those appointments.
Like just every time.
I will pre-book dentist, I will pre-book doctor, whatever. But like nails and lashes, I'm like, those are not priorities for me. I mean, like they kind of are, but like, you know, if something comes up, right? Like exactly. Yeah, totally.
So your role needs to be to release the guilt on that, and every time you get your appointment, just book the next one, knowing it needs to happen. And then it's, I was going to say, then it's in your calendar, but then it's pencil. Maybe you need to write it in a Sharpie so that you can't erase it.
Eyelashes.
I love that. And I love that you're just like unapologetic about it. This like makes me feel better. I think there's some people that are so worried if they say that they like have a certain service or certain whatever. I used to get my nails done all of the time, and that was like one thing that I gave up and was just feeling like I needed to like make them a little bit healthier, so I'd like stop. And to this day, it's been years, and I like do them on my own, or I just go for like a one-off like session to get the nails done. I miss it every single day. I miss it. It brought me so much joy. So maybe that's a sign that I need to like do it.
I feel like for girls, like something like that, where like, for me, like Jeff's always like, do you really need it? You know, like, do you really need your eyelashes? And I'm like, if you really think about it, like the amount of time that I take putting my mascara on or my eyeshadow, that's like so much time in my day where I don't need it if I have my eyelashes done. Seriously, the eyelashes is usually all I go with. I don't have makeup on almost every day. Like in a special occasion, I'll put makeup on, but like every day I just have my lashes, and that's good. Like I'm ready to go for the day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, you own that. So you've already given us so many awesome nuggets of ideas and wisdom and insight into you today. But if there was one last piece of something that has been important or special to you in your life, or something that someone has said to you that's resonated with you that you could leave our listeners today as they go forth on their day? What would be something, or even just like one easy tip or something that they could incorporate into their day to make tomorrow that much easier or happier for them? You've given us so many.
I know.
Insights into our houses and homes and all of that. But
I would say, I don't know, it's probably not that special, but like I said, like, I think being different was
I like
one
that.
of my main
I'm glad that's what you said. I was hoping that's what you would say.
Like, be different, be unique, like, be proud of it. And, like I said, like, try to bring in something that other people don't out of everywhere, like your workplace.
And confidently do it.
Exactly, yeah. If you feel like your workplace needs something, bring it in. Like, bring it in. Take it all in. Don't be shy about being unique, I feel. I feel like a lot of us, I don't know, maybe it's Saskatoon, but I feel like everybody is so similar. Where I'm like, kind of like a room, like you feel like this is kind of boring, bring in a piece of unique furniture that'll just brighten the whole room, kind of thing,
I love that. And I think it's interesting because I feel like in the age and stage that we're all in right now, this feels like, as I'm watching my children now in school and getting to like the middle school ages, there's uniqueness is celebrated. Totally. It's so different than how it was and how it continues to be in our demographics of 30s, 40s, like 50s, 60s, whatever. There's just this persona that it's still not okay to be unique, even though we're seeing all of these beautiful expressions of people trying to find their voice and just be the way they feel they were meant to be. And my children have been a huge inspiration to me on that, where they're coming home and saying things like, it's just no big deal. Things that I would have thought were completely out of this world when I was their age, because I wasn't in an environment that fostered that fostered being unique and different, and that just wasn't what you did. You just kind of go with the flow. And I love that you said that, because that is exactly what I think. If more people were just authentically themselves and allowed that to happen around
just
them.
Be you, like, be yourself. It doesn't matter.
Love that.
I feel like a lot of the thing too is like everybody has their different opinions and different beliefs and everything, and like, like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. I can be your friend and totally not have any kind of connection in the way of, like, you believe, I believe. But we can still be friends,
There's room for all of it.
Yeah.
There's room for all of it. It doesn't make anybody better or not better. And you just got to find...
Even with fashion. Like, I feel like, bring it in. You don't like it, and a lot of people don't like it, but you like it, wear it. Like...
Oh, that could just be... Okay, so mind blown. That's exactly what you need to hear today. Bring that into every single area of your life and just go forth and be yourself. Yeah. I love that. Thank you, Yessenia. This was such a fun conversation. You are just a firecracker, and I'm so excited to see where you're taking your interiors, and I will link everything in the show notes here, so follow along to see all of the beautiful posts and all of the background chaos and everything in between. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
This show would not be possible without you, my incredible listeners. It would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to Celebrating Simple Life wherever you listen to podcasts. If you really want to make my day, leave a review. Each week, I will pick one review that will be read on the show, and the person who left that review will receive a special gift from me. Cheers to Celebrating Simple Life.